September 13th, 2010, 11:37 a.m. We're up here at the top of the mountain. It's the overlook spot that Risky and Rusty scouted out a while back with the real good view of the river that we're hoping, or the telephoto lens that Steve has, that we'll be able to maybe monitor some of these banks, river banks, and get some images during the salmon run. So we're going to set up his huge telephoto lens for his digital still camera and see what kind of magnification we can get for any figures walking along the banks during the run. Okay, we'll see. We'll get all set up and see what kind of pictures we can get from up here. It's a beautiful day.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking. Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking.
Now it's 3:33 p.m. We're down by Camp Postcard. Beautiful day. You really couldn't ask for anything better. We got all set up. I won't bore you with the details. It's the same as always. Remote standoff camera, 4 motion sensors. Well, actually 3. We're going to do 3 in camp and 1 out by the bait this time. We're going to change things up. Steve's over there with his super torpedo zoom lens with his digital camera, glass in the mountains.
I know that, nice dude.
Tool for still digital pictures. So we decided to do this time is take one of the motion sensors and actually put it out by the bait, so we don't have to rely on hearing anything approaching the bait. We'll have our zone 2 sensor out here to alert us that something's coming up to the bait. We put the bait a little closer this time, right here on the trail leading up to camp. And we got 2 cameras out here watching the bait area and a microphone. Got the microphone right there, 1 camera there, and you have another camera over here, if you can see it, right there between the branch and the tree there. Both IR, and we repaired our IR augmentation light. All it is a IR light with IR LEDs, and it's actually powered. And what that's going to do is provide more IR illumination to the bait area for the 2 cameras. So this little bait area right here is going to be lit up pretty good by the IR, and we're hoping we get some activity here at the bait site. We're pretty much warming up for the salmon run. We have our motion activated device there. That's going to be zone 2 for the duration of the camp. So we're hoping if anything is going to approach camp and be curious as to what's going on. There's camp. It'll come through this natural path up here to camp. We don't know. We can only do what we can do with the equipment that we have. For the salmon run, we might extend the area as far as motion detection past this area over farther up the road, so if anything approaches we can actually not count on it having to come through this little choke point. So we'd have to give up another motion sensor from camp for that, which will basically cut in half our area of detection around camp. Right now we'll have to go in a triangular pattern for motion in camp, since we have the other sensor out here by the bait. Just trying something a little different. Okay, I'll be back later. Yeah, it's almost 7 o'clock. We're sitting by the camp, just talking, just finished dinner. Talking about our strategy for the salmon run. Obviously this is the river that's full of salmon, and the place where Steve had a sighting in this area when I was hiking down that road down there, that forest trail. What we're thinking for a strategy is, since we know they're going to be feeding on salmon, especially at night, is the way this river runs, it kind of snakes around left to right, comes around this bend, goes up, snakes a little bit to the right, and then it takes a hard left up to the left to the screen. And we're thinking if it's going to be fishing for salmon while we're here, if it has any inkling that there's humans in the area, it may not be wandering around directly by our camp. We're thinking it might be out of sight. Just to be safe, it might just do that. So we're thinking about, in this area, setting up a camera, probably this camera, which is our zoom standoff camera, and setting that up, excuse me, in this area over here, looking on either side of this bend on the river, preferably up in this direction, and where it may feel safe to be out of sight of the vehicles, and just set our alarm clocks for, an hour before sunrise, hit record on the DVR, and let the camera record the banks of the river as the sun comes up. Like I said, either side of the bend here, or even down there in that direction. And we may get lucky. It's just an idea. Otherwise, I'm sure I'll be hiking up and down the riverbanks like I did last year, all along the river up in that direction, and see if I can find any evidence. The only problem with the banks of the river here is very rocky, as you can see. There are some sandbars and whatnot that could leave tracks, like the deer or elk tracks that are down there now. You could probably see right there where the hooved animals were coming up to the water. Some people like to think that Bigfoot's smart and deliberately tries not to leave tracks. I don't know if that's the case or not, if it's that self-aware, but you never know. So finding evidence in tracks sometimes is difficult. It's bad enough up in the woods itself, where you got the soft pine needle bed. You just don't get tracks very often, but occasionally you'll get something. So we're just reviewing our strategies. Here's the mountains. We think they come out of the mountains here, down into the riverbanks, to fish for salmon. And I personally believe that they come down by the rivers for extended periods of time, gorging on salmon and going into tall grass and the tall trees over here, for example, and just snooze away until the cycle begins again. And they come down and gorge and go and sleep and build up their fat during the salmon buffet. September 14th, 2010. Beautiful morning. It's about 10:43. We've been tearing down camp for a little while. Nothing interesting last night. It was pitch dark and dead quiet. Salmon still there. All the loose salmon was eaten. We have some fresh turds, or as they like to say in the community, scat. Right there. Some manner of creature decided to eat, and then its body told him it needed to purge and poop. So we have that. How exciting.